Hey guys, Dan here with another book review. This time I'm going to do something a little bit different. I know that I said that I was hesitant to do audio book reviews just for the fact that I don't really have anything to show you guys. I feel like book review videos are a visual medium and you kind of have to have something to show the audience, so they have something that people like to look at book covers and stuff like that when you're doing a review. So that's why I was kind of hesitant to do this. But I started to write my review of Forrest Gump. I listened to the audio book of Forrest Gump, and it was read by Mark Hammer, which I've never heard of this guy. But he kind of has like that kind of southern drawl, like the people from the South, kind of sound like. But when I was starting to write my audiobook review of Forrest Gump, I just came at a loss for words because I just really did not know how to do a proper review of Forrest Gump without spoiling it. And I'm going to tell you why I can't do a proper review of this audiobook without spoiling it, because I'm sure, like a lot of other people, Forrest Gump from the 1994 film starring Tom Hanks. That's me too. I did not read the book by Winston Groom before the film. No, unfortunately, the film made me want to read the book. And guys, I gotta break it to you. The book is radically different from the film. They are so very different. And the thing that floors me, and I just found this out before I decided to do this review, that Winston Groom helped develop the screenplay for the Robert Zemeckis, film Forrest Gump. I'm mind blown. Because to be quite honest with you guys, and this is where things are going to get spoilery, so if you have not read Forrest Gump and you don't want to be spoiled, like you want to still read the book and you don't want to be spoiled, this might be where you want to turn off the video and, go read that before you come back. I'm sorry, I don't usually do spoilery reviews, but this time I had no choice because they were so different. Now, first up, I want to show you guys the cover. I'm assuming this is the original cover. I pulled it up on my laptop because, no, I don't have fancy movie editing software. I know, I keep telling you guys, I'm like, donate to my tip jar because I really need movie editing software. And I had to resort to pulling it up on my laptop to share it with you guys. But yeah, I mean, the thing that, it's so radically different, and I know I keep saying that, but it is so different, not in just, you gotta think, the adaptation for the 1994 film, we have Tom Hanks, who is this prim and proper, life is like a box of chocolates, suit wearing, suit jacket wearing, doesn't swear, he's prim and proper, gentlemanly Forrest Gump, sitting on a bench, just randomly talking to people, and he's a little bit slow, and he grew up with leg braces, stuff like that. That is not Forrest Gump from the book. I got into like a third of the Forrest Gump book, and I had to put it down. I couldn't do it anymore because I was like, oh my god, this is so different. This is not what I anticipated. But I eventually went back because, I want to know, because this is the book that inspired the film. For some reason, people, loved this book and they wanted it to become a film. So I pushed on and carried on with it. And one of the things I got to tell you that's different with the book Forrest Gump. The book Forrest Gump, he's like 6'2" or something like that. Don't quote me 100% on the stats for the Forrest Gump book guy, because And I did look up to see how tall Tom Hanks is, and Tom Hanks is about 6 foot, because I thought he was shorter. But Forrest Gump from the book's about 6'2", weighs 246 pounds or something like that. So he's a big, burly guy, you know. He's not no slight, prim and proper little man. And the Forrest Gump in the book also talks like a truck driver. And I could see, you know, they wanted to make the film PG-13 so it could be a family experience, I guess. It could be one of those films that you could take your family, your whole fandamily to go see Forrest Gump. And yeah, so like the original Forrest Gump from the book swears like a truck driver. Like every other word out of his mouth is shit. I went and packed my shit. And, there's a bunch of other phrases that he used, and like he said something like he was so happy he could shit. And he likes to say turd too a lot, and it's like hearing that guy's a turd in a southern drawl is kind of different. But aside from that, like the events of the book are so radically different. The whole personality of who Forrest Gump is different, and I'm gonna go into reasons why I think that is, because I didn't really know this about the author. I kind of did a little research on Winston Groom to find out who he is. Apparently he writes a lot of like history nonfiction books, and I don't know because I didn't read a quote from the author, but someone had said that Forrest Gump was his take on people who were against the Vietnam War. And I kind of would believe that because there's a number of times where it's mentioned throughout the book. Different people ask Forrest, what do you think of the war in Vietnam? And he's like, well, to be honest with you, I think it's just a bunch of shit. And he says that, like, literally, that's the quote, just a bunch of shit. And, so yeah, you don't expect Forrest Gump to say that it's just a bunch of shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's like the whole relationship with Jenny Curran is different. It starts out and it's like, I guess the author did not have the intention of making Forrest Gump autistic, but he comes across as being autistic because at one point he's kind of labeled as an idiot savant. And you keep hearing, like, Forrest Gump and other people who know him refer to him as an idiot over and over and over and over again. Like, he'll say, oh, I'm just an idiot. And, like, you get the impression he's not really stupid. Like, he's pretty damn smart, if you ask me. Because he comes up with, like, different ideas. Like, there's one scenario where he's a football quarterback and they get stranded on the side of the road, and he says to the guy, well, why don't you take out some of the lug nuts from the other tires, just a temporary fix to, you know, because he lost the lug nuts from one of the tires, and he's like, just, you know, take one from each tire and you could be able to put the other, you know, tire back on. And it's just stuff like that, and then I could go on, but like there were other differences, like this Forrest Gump from the book was a wrestler. He's a professional wrestler called the Dunce, which is kind of stupid. One of the things I didn't really care for is if you remember in the film with the Dr. Peppers, I think he drank like 15 Dr. Peppers and he was meeting Richard Nixon or LBJ, one of those presidents. I don't remember exactly who, but you know, Forrest is waiting in line, and when he finally gets to shake the president's hand, he says, I got to pee. Well, that, like, the author apparently thought that was hilarious, and that joke is throughout the book, which I didn't think it was ever funny to begin with. I thought it was kind of stupid, but to keep, like, rehashing it, like, and even at one point in the end of the book, Forrest is running for senator or some shit like that, and his campaign phrase is, I got to pee, and I'm like, really? It was at that point I was kind of glad that the book was ending, and I didn't really, because this book has got, like, 4 or 5 star ratings on Goodreads, and I'm like, did these people even read this book? Because I'm starting to wonder if people even read the book. But, yeah, and, you know, Forrest Gump becomes an astronaut. Forrest Gump gets stranded with cannibals in the jungle of Borneo. And this was another thing. This was a problematic scene, like scenario in the book. And this is another reason why I kind of found fault with the book. Forrest Gump is... This is another thing different from the movie and the book. Forrest Gump in the book is racist as fuck. Like... He's calling all these, the cannibal tribesmen, he's calling them like slang terms for, I don't even want to repeat the term he used in the book, but like, it makes you kind of wonder if Winston Groom is kind of a racist himself, because he calls these people, and it's just so like, yeah, I get it, the guy's from the South. I get it that people in the South are racist. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody from the South, no, don't take it like that I think everybody from the South is racist, but it kind of has that stereotypical, vibe that, we tend to think that people from the South are racist. It's just, I'm not saying everybody from the South is racist, but that's the way it comes across, and I'm wondering if Winston Groom is racist because of the way he has Forrest, like, talk about black people was just, like, cringy. Really, really cringy. And then the whole relationship with Jenny Curran was just so weird. It was so different. It seems kind of almost puppy dog, kind of puppy love, kind of cute in the movie. But in the book, it's so radically different. Like, Forrest Gump is smoking lots of dope, and he's hung like a horse, and all this other stuff. It's just so different. You have this idea of what Forrest Gump is from watching the 1994 film, and this is so different. I could go on and on. Like I said, there were so many different scenes, and then Lieutenant Dan, like, is just the total portrayal of Lieutenant Dan, and the scenes and scenarios he's involved in is completely different. Also, there is an orangutan named Sue, and the orangutan named Sue is the one he starts up the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company with. Yes, you heard that right. He starts it with an ape. And yeah, an ape named Sue, and that's from a different part of the book, and if you read it, or if you've already read it, you kind of already know where Sue came from. But this made me think of that old 80s film starring Clint Eastwood with the orangutan, Every Which Way But Loose. Yeah, because it's like just orangutan shenanigans, stuff like that. It just, it had some similarities to the film, like there was him going to Vietnam and saving all the soldiers, like bringing them back. But then there was also, like, it was just so radically different. It had more differences than it did have similarities to the film. So I guess you could say this is kind of a book-to-film comparison review, because, the film was the reason why I wanted to read the book. It was the reason why I loved the film. I really enjoyed the film. And the book was just sort of okay. I was almost thinking about rating the book 2 stars out of 5, but I decided to, in the end, I gave it a 3 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads. I thought that the book was just okay, and to be honest with you, I know there is a sequel called Gump and Company that is a sequel to it, and I don't know if I'm going to be in a big hurry to want to read or listen to that as an audiobook. Because I to be honest with you, the whole way the differences the way Forrest was from book to film, and not only that, I wasn't really pleased with the way the book ended. The book ended kind of like radically different from the film. Yet again, of course, Jenny Curran has a little boy, and you know if you've seen the film that she has a little boy named Forrest who's. But at the same time, I was kind of thinking, was this like, because, Forrest had become a millionaire, and it's like, you can't really tell, because everybody's trying to take advantage of Forrest because they think he's an idiot. And I often kind of wondered when I got to the end of the book, I'm like, was was that really Forrest Gump's kid, or was it just coincidence? She saw him on the news and knew he was loaded and like, hey, I'm gonna say I'm married to another guy, but this is your kid, you know? Like, it wasn't one of those kind of deals. And I to go back to why I think Winston Groom wrote this, I don't know. Did he write this as an out to say that he thought this was some kind of political satire of Vietnam War protesters? Like, he thinks they're idiots, but they're not really. I don't know. I really don't know, because, I mean, the author himself has not really said too much, not that I could find on the internet, about the book. And obviously he's not very big on writing fiction, because, like I said, he only wrote, like, a few fiction books. I mean, he has some, like books that are, like, unknown that he wrote before Forrest Gump that I've never heard of. And I don't know if I'd ever care to read them, just because the racist vernacular and this. Yeah, it was just not for me. I don't think that I wouldn't even recommend, like, if you love the Forrest Gump film and you're kind of interested in reading the book, I'm not even going to recommend you going and reading the book or listening to it on audiobook. Like, it was that bad. And you're never going to look at Forrest Gump the same because of the differences. So I'm going to stick with that. I just would not recommend going and reading the book. It's better left unread. Let your ideal Forrest Gump be the one of Tom Hanks' 1994 Forrest Gump film. That's all I got for you guys. Like I mentioned before, I had to show you guys the cover on my laptop. If I had movie editing software, which you guys can help me out by donating to the tip jar down below. Also, I will have a link to the Forrest Gump book. If you are diehard, if you really want to go ahead and check out this book. But I gave you some trigger warnings. I let you know ahead of time. And this was... I couldn't do this review without spoiling it. I just couldn't, because it was... like I mentioned, all that stuff. But it is what it is. That's all I got for you guys. Stay tuned, because I am going to be doing some different videos in the next few days. I'm going to do some other stuff that's non-book related. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Until next time, later.